Hey, fellow linguists, welcome back to Doodling with Purpose. Time to jump in and learn more ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs for fun, for free. All right, where we left off last week, we've been going over different pronouns, and we started with the suffix pronouns. There's three types: suffix pronouns, dependent pronouns, and independent pronouns. So in our deep dive on suffix pronouns, we looked at all the different iterations: I, you feminine, he, she, we, you, and they. So that's been your homework the past few weeks, and flashcards are a great way to learn these. This week, let's jump into dependent pronouns, because we're building some major vocabulary here and structure. All right, so much like suffix pronouns, dependent pronouns have different ways they're used. Objects of a verb, except for the infinitive, we'll get to that later, and after an initial particle and after a negation, excuse me. We're going to get into that next week. All right, so first, dependent pronouns. I is a chick or a chick with a man, pronounced W. You, for a dependent pronoun, is T with a chick. It could either be the TZ or the proper T loaf. Same with U for feminine. It's the same thing, a T but with an N under it, TN. He and it is the SW root, the plant root with the W, either the chick or spiral. She, bolt of cloth, with the sideways slash, which is a Y, so it's pronounced SY, C, or just C. We is the watermark, the N, with stroke lines under it, indicating a plural. And you'll notice that the we for dependent pronoun is the same as the independent pronoun. I'm sorry, it's the suffix pronoun. All right, and then you, plural, again with T, either using the cattle hobble or the loaf. And then they, we have the bolt of cloth, N with the stroke marks, and again it can be the bolt of cloth or the door lock. Both S sounds get used. And then they, the bolt of cloth or the door bolt with an N. Now, there is another dependent pronoun that is not represented in the suffix pronouns, which is a they, it pronoun. So it's just another one. It's bolt of cloth with a T. So different dependent or different pronoun that isn't available as a suffix pronoun. All right. So let's again look at the ways these are used. So dependent pronouns can either be the object of a verb, except in the infinitive, which, again, we'll cover that. And then after with a negative, which we'll get into. All right, so dependent pronouns as object of verb. So wrote out this sentence, which hopefully you should be familiar with. We have the stop sign for the past, U, the word for see, the ED, making it saw, and then F as the suffix pronoun. So if we were going to change this from he saw, which uses a suffix pronoun, and instead we were going to remove that suffix pronoun and put in a dependent pronoun in its place. So where you have the horned viper, this is the F, right, for he as a dependent pronoun. We're going to change that to he as the suffix, the horned viper. We're going to change that to dependent pronoun of the root with the chick. Now, you will notice in doing this, it does leave this kind of weird empty space that I drew a little X box with a question mark. We'll deal with that in a moment because we've talked about how hieroglyphs are always supposed to be perfect squares. So I'll just kind of cross that off here, and you never want to have negative space when writing out hieroglyphs. They always want to be perfect and every spot filled in. And this can be done by moving around determinatives. So here we have ma'a.n equals SW, SW being the dependent pronoun for him. So this would be him saw? Doesn't quite make sense. Well, that's because, first let's move that determinative, the determinative for saw, the I. Instead of putting it in the front, we can move it under the N to make it aesthetically look nicer. So that's just an aesthetic graphical transposition. Now, the subject with a dependent pronoun is going to be I, or whomever the stela is about, or it's going to be a noun pronoun if it follows the dependent pronoun. So if there's no extra suffix pronoun, then the suffix pronoun becomes I. But if you're reading, say, a stela about King Tut, well, then it just becomes King Tut. You know who they're talking about, or Achaman, and any stela, any king. So here we have as an example, we have him saw, but then we've added the suffix pronoun he after it. So it becomes he saw him. Do you follow? So we have him saw, but then by adding he after the suffix pronoun as a dependent pronoun, it now becomes who saw him? He saw him. Or if we had a bolt of cloth for she, it would be she saw him. So the him, recognizing the dependent pronoun after the verb, tells you that you are using well, that's how you know, because it's him and not he. Or it could be the word for king. The king saw him. So here we have this one, the word for king. So, going back to our dependent pronouns, this is your homework for this week, is to write this down, make flashcards if you need, and start memorizing the dependent pronouns and practice writing them in. Next week, we'll jump into the negative and look at how dependent pronouns are used for that. All right, thanks for watching. Questions, as always, in the comments below. Let me know, and I'm always so grateful to have you guys as part of this class. We couldn't do this series without you. Hope you're enjoying. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week for more doodling with purpose.